Hello. Today I'm going to talk about 5 things that I see in people who are successful in making a move abroad and staying there a long term. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Patricia Brooks. I am an American who moved to France in 2018, and now I help people start the next chapters of their lives living and thriving in a foreign country. I help them with their mindset. I help them create a project plan when they don't know where to start. I help them with information when they're moving to France. And on this channel, I talk about my life in France, moving abroad, and how to find that confidence and courage so that you can finally start living the kind of life you know you were meant to. And today I'm going to talk about this thing called uncertainty and what you can do about decreasing the uncertainty in making the decision to move abroad and actually taking that leap. And it has to do with understanding some of the qualities or characteristics of the kind of person who moves abroad confidently and sustainably. And the first one has to do with planning. People who make a move abroad need to understand there is a financial component that you need to really think through. And if you don't do that, then you might find yourself wanting to stay longer, but not being able to do it. So there's a woman a couple years ago I spoke with who decided she was going to move to France on a student visa. And she wanted to go to a music school, and she got accepted. It was a really top-notch music school. And there were 2 things that caused her not to be able to stay long-term. One was that maybe the student visa wasn't the thing that she should have gone for, or maybe that school that she'd chosen wasn't the right school because it was a lot of theory and it really wasn't what she had expected. So she was disappointed on that front. But then on the other front was 6 months in, she started to see that, she would run out of money and that she needed to go back to the United States. And so that was disappointing because while France was the country, the visa wasn't right or the school wasn't right. And she hadn't planned well on the money side of things. So that is one thing that I see people who are successful moving abroad have thought through and crunched the numbers. Now, I moved abroad. I wasn't working. I was living off my savings, and I recognized I had enough to sustain myself for at least a couple of years. And while it was hard to live off of my savings, to take that sabbatical and watch my savings dwindle, I didn't feel like I was going to run out of money and felt like I needed to return back to the States. So financial planning, but also planning on choosing the right visa. Number 2 is people who move abroad to a foreign country that speaks a foreign language in particular, and who are successful in staying there long term, recognize that they are going to need to learn the language, that moving to a city where there is a large English-speaking population is not going to be enough. And it's great if there is an English-speaking expat community or an expat community that speaks your native tongue. And there are things you're going to need to navigate administratively that knowing the language is going to be helpful. There are going to be things day to day that you're going to need help with where you might not be able to find somebody who speaks your language. And knowing the language of your country is just going to come in handy. And resisting this creates friction, but it also creates the stress because things are even harder when you move to a country that is got a different culture and everything is new and you're so far out of your comfort zone and you don't know the language. If you get a head start before you make your move abroad, start learning the language so that at least you have some degree of understanding or a little bit of a comfort level with the language. That will go a long way in increasing your chances of being able to stay the course. Now, there was an article, a CNN article of a couple, this was about a year ago, who moved to France and about 10 months in realized, oh no, that this was not going to be their home long term. And there were a myriad of reasons, but one of them was they hadn't gotten around to prioritizing learning French, even once they were living here. And that just was a source of friction for them. So learn the language. And I just want to share that I've been here 7.5, almost 8 years. And my language skills now are so much better than they were even a year ago. And I see the difference even from what my life was like last year to this year, how much I participate, how much less stressful it is to communicate and to be. So this is a big, big tip. Now, people I see who struggle with isolation abroad, with homesickness abroad, with staying abroad longer term, is that they don't put themselves out there. Now, I know this from experience, and less experience from my move to France and more from an experience of going to university for the first time. Freshman year of university, I was homesick the first 6 months. I was miserable, absolutely miserable. But the reason why was I was thinking about my mom back at home. I was thinking about the friends I left back at home. And I wasn't going out and doing things with the new people who were all around me. And my mom even sent me a letter saying, oh, Patricia, get out, do some things, meet new people. You're going to love it there if you do that. And I didn't listen. And as a result, I was miserable. It's the same when you move abroad. Even if you're introverted, you don't like putting yourself out there. It's uncomfortable to go to events or go to events alone. Then you can find yourself cloistered in your apartment or your house and feeling all alone with everything else that's coming down on you. The difference in culture, the not knowing the language, just being confused at how things work. And then you feel homesick. You're missing your family and your friends. And that will not bode well for your ability to stay someplace long term. So put yourself out there. And it may be hard. I recently did a Women Rising Roundtable. These are 2.5-hour conversations with women on different subjects. And the subject of this one was how to build meaningful friendships as an adult. And it was sold out, and it was a great conversation where the women walked away with new skills, new awarenesses, new insights that they hadn't had before that will allow them to, reach out and meet people, to strengthen friendships they already have. And as I said, it was sold out. And I'm planning to do another roundtable on this subject. And if that sounds like something that could help you as you, plan your move abroad, so that once you get to your new country, you have the skills necessary to start to build new friendships and build a new community, then you can get on the wait list for that. And you can go to thecouragecatalyst.com/make friends and sign up there. And it should be happening in the next 5 or 6 weeks if I get enough of a response. All right, so check that out. So number 4 is knowing your deeper why. This comes up in a lot of my videos, but this is really important because this will allow you to stay committed to the hard thing that you've chosen to do. The thing that you might be wondering, what have you gotten yourself into? Now, knowing your deeper why is not, I want to move abroad because the cost of living is lower. Yes, that may be important to you, but what will living in France or Spain or whatever country you choose to live in, what will that allow you to have, be, do, or become? I wanted to move to France so that I could learn the language. The French language was so beautiful to me that I wanted to become fluent in it. But I also wanted to have experiences here that would help me to write my second book. And also, there's a feeling that I got when I visited France. I felt free. It felt good. And I wanted to experience that all the time. Those were my main reasons why, deeper reasons why I wanted to move to France. And at the end of my first year, my friend Jordi said, oh, you know what? Maybe you should go for a student visa. Here's that student visa again. And he said, if you go for a student visa, in some cases, it will make the path to citizenship easier. And it's not really that, it's an easier visa to get. And I thought about it. I even went to a school to kind of learn a little bit more about what I might study. And it just felt wrong. It felt like, didn't really want to spend many, many, many hours in class and then many more hours studying something when that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so, since it didn't feel right, I didn't do it. And that was a really good choice because my deeper why was not that. And that has allowed me to stay long term. Again, the first example with that student who hadn't really picked the right program for her, or maybe school wasn't for her, she wound up rebounding. So knowing your deeper why is vital. It's vital to staying committed and being happier as you make your way in your new life abroad. Number 5 has to do with being persistent and being consistent. And this is a quality, or these are qualities of the kind of person who moves abroad confidently and sustainably, because there are certain things that you're going to have to do on a regular basis that will allow you to have more ease in your life abroad. There are certain things that you're going to need to persist on, even when it feels hard, that will allow you to sustain your life abroad long term. So to give you an example, I was consistent in doing my 30-minute Pimsleur method audio lesson every day before I moved to France from 2014 to 2018. And that really helped me to have a solid base of the language, at least to speak it. And that helped me out so much. I was persistent here in France because I started a business a few years in. And this is my 4th year, the start of my 4th year with my business. And let me tell you, it's been hard. It's been hard to show up and reach out to people and tell them what I have to offer. It's been hard to put out a video every week on top of everything else I'm doing. It's been hard to create new offerings so that I can reach my audience and give them what they want. And it's been hard, but that persistence has allowed me to get to this place where now I have a business that supports me in my life here in France. I don't know that there would have been another way for me to do that. Maybe I could have gotten a job as a project manager, but that wasn't in alignment with my why. So consistency, doing things again and again, showing up and doing your language lesson, or consistency in waking up every day feeling positive or working to feel positive and not throw in the towel, as well as being persistent, over the long term, are keys to making the move, but also staying there for as long as you would like, for as long as you desire to live abroad. Okay? Now, I said that there were 5 things that I see in people who move abroad and stay the course. But there is a 6th one. There's a bonus. This bonus is they ask for help. Now, whether it's help with the visa process and paperwork, whether it's help finding an apartment or a house to move to, or whether it's work on the mindset and building behaviors, thought patterns, developing qualities of the kind of person who moves abroad confidently and sustainably so that they can, number one, take that big leap even with all the uncertainty, but number two, once they get there, so that they can experience the kind of life that they had envisioned for themselves and feel happy once they get there, or as they're living their new life. Then that's what I offer. And I have a number of different offerings, from one-on-one coaching to a group coaching program for single women who are ready to make the move abroad but not want to feel like they're doing it all by themselves, to information sessions where you pick my brain about what it's like to live in France, and I share information about that. So if you're interested in any of those, or to find out more about what I do, you can go to my website, thecouragecatalyst.com, and check it out. All right. So there you have it. 5 things with a bonus that allow people to move abroad and stay there long term. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.